I really don't fear death. I realize that if I'm gonna die, that's okay, because everyone does it. Everyone does. My name is Victor M. Sweeney. I'm a licensed funeral director and mortician in Warren, Minnesota, and I make around $87,000 a year. Duport Funeral Home, this is Victor. How can I help you? After a person passes away, it's up to either the family or maybe the facility where they have died to give me a call. We answer the phone 24/7. Every funeral home in the country does. The next step will be me getting myself dressed and showing up to the place of death with a cot. I'll go into the room, meet with the family, and then sometimes I ask them if they seem open to it, if they would like to help me transfer the body from the deathbed to my cot. We'll ascertain that, and then I head back to the funeral home. Whether that's 3 in the afternoon or 3 in the morning, I'll start embalming right away, if that's what the family requests. The main goal of embalming is to sanitize the body and also preserve it. So kill the bacteria that are running wild after death, but then also preserve the tissue so it isn't breaking down the day of the funeral and we're dealing with decomposition and smell and all other unsightly things. I grew up in a pretty death-positive family. My older sister was born and died before I was born. So I grew up as a kid going to the cemetery and cleaning off Kate's grave. And then in addition to that, up until between the ages of maybe 10 and 20, we had a big family funeral every year. So whether it was a grandparent or an aunt or an uncle, someone close to us died. So I was exposed to a fair bit of that growing up. I have seen a lot of lives come and go, and the old adage of you can't take it with you is terribly true. So I've really just tried to nurture just a general disinterest in wealth and making money and keeping too much of it. If I ever have much more than I need, I don't want to be too attached to it. I want to be able to give it away and not beat myself up about it. The kind of person that I think does best in the funeral world is one that kind of treads the middle way between maybe two extremes. On one extreme, you might have someone who is really morbid. They're really into dead bodies or really interested in death. I don't know if that's healthy. And then on the other end of the spectrum, I've seen people struggle that are almost too empathetic and that when they meet with a family, they're all tears and it's hard to get business done. Going between those two things or holding them in tension is really what a funeral director is called to do and ought to do if they want to be successful. Maybe I make less money here, but I also have fewer expenses. Groceries are a little more. They're hard to get way up here in the hinterlands. I can't eat out very often because there is only one restaurant in town, but like taxes are fairly low. My house and mortgage are relatively inexpensive. You never know when someone's going to die. So it's really unpredictable and is an extreme challenge for my wife who stays home and watches me run in and out and every which way all day. When I was in high school, on my way to discerning what I wanted to do with my life, what I realized is that, quite frankly, I'm too selfish to be a priest. I think I like accolades too much. In my first couple weeks at the funeral home, when I was still in high school, the boss took me into his office and he said, "Victor, I think if you're earnest about this, I think you need to go and witness an embalming." He had me watch my first embalming, which was an 18-year-old girl who died in a car crash before graduation. So the very first body that I had really hands-on experience with was someone my own age. And I got to tell you, that was extremely challenging And what I found then is that I'm kind of in a privileged position, because unlike maybe her parents, right, they can't really do much other than just accept the new and really hard reality. I was in a position where I could actually do something. So I could push the casket in and out of the church. Or now, everything that kind of happens at the funeral, from the planning of the funeral to staffing it, to running the music sometimes, or even singing in the choir, in addition to all the body work, even though it's physically demanding and mentally demanding and emotionally demanding, the fact that I get to actively do something kind of gets you through. Being in a small town like where I am, you end up knowing almost everybody who comes through the door. So if you don't know the deceased, you certainly know some of their family. And that gets hard. It gets emotional at times, and that's okay. When you know a person, you can write their obituary. You don't have to ask every boilerplate question because you know them. It's kind of that beautiful mix. You have the hard things, but then there is just something so beautiful about the deep knowledge of the people that come through your door that is worth so much more than even the heartache that sometimes follows. I take care of one of the cemetery maps in my town, the Catholic cemetery, and looking through the records at the cemetery and through the old records kept in Latin at the church, I found that there are 5 unmarked graves.
Zmiłuj się nad nami, which is Polish for pray for us.
It's been my mission, and is going to be my mission over the next couple years, to carve and mark each of those 5 unmarked graves with the details of who's been lying there, unknown and kind of forgotten for sometimes decades.
This one's going to Peter Hefta. When living memory fades, like this gentleman here has been dead since '68, and he didn't have any family, so there's probably no one alive that remembers him. If he can't last in living memory, then we should at least mark the fact that he was here.
I field probably one really good job offer every year. So the last job I was offered was over $200,000 a year to do what I'm doing now, but do it in a larger city, in a corporate setting. In reflecting on whether that job would be a good fit, I saw it as this mechanical sort of do the tasks. You have this linear element where you just set things up and you take care of them. But here, where I know the families, everything kind of becomes personal all of a sudden.
Thanks, Rick. See ya.
It became very apparent to me that one of the things I love about where I'm at, if I see a family needs something and I maybe need to give something away, I can do that. There are no corporate rules against operating on a human level instead of on a business level. That's something I value probably more than anything else.
I think I'm gonna play Super Smash on Monday if you wanna come, Chris.
I'm really happy with how my life has turned out. I didn't expect it. I never expected to be a mortician, let alone a mortician in the middle of nowhere, Minnesota. I have all the things I need, some of the things I want. My wife likes me and my kids wait for me to come home every day. I love my boss. I love what I do. To actually be of service and provide value that way is extremely gratifying. I don't think I've gone home a single day since I've been up here sad, thinking that I should have done something else. And I think that's all a man can ask for.